Tavix, it's Killian. What are you doing here? Tell me where you've been. Please. I need to know.
As I see Killian do this, I will walk up behind him and place my hand on his shoulder. Killian, they're all dead.
Hello, adventurer. This is our Curse of Strahd actual playthrough. As always, it is a safe for work and story-driven D&D campaign. If this is your first time with us, we recommend starting your quest on episode 1. Otherwise, stick around to be transported into the cursed lands of Barovia. Last time on Curse of Strahd, our party made their way back to Ismark, where they updated him on their accomplishments. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Our party made their way back to Ismark, where they updated him on their accomplishments. They then went to Bildras Mercantile to cash in their magic item and restock on their supplies. Outside of the store, Granny M was waiting to talk to them, but more specifically to talk to Zeno. Granny M discussed with Zeno about his recent deal that he made with the witch queen Ravandra. Afterwards, Silas suggested to split the party up for the evening, and Silas made his way back to Velix's grave, where he had a very touching moment. Zeno disguised himself and made a deal with a drunk man for his soul. Killian ended up back at the tavern where he had a little bit of fun with a catapult. They then made their way to the church, and they witnessed the beginning of the March of the Dead. And this is where we're going to start our session. You all watch as these green, ghost-like figures make their way from the graveyard and head through the town. You watch as they march through the town and out into the woods, heading in a direction towards Strahd's castle. Killian, you recognize a figure as it walks past you. It has a blank, dead stare in its eyes. Would you like to describe who you see?
Yes, I do. It is an older man, a very, very old man. Can we see, like, are they like a specific color? Like, would we see them as if they were like still alive, or are they all kind of like this green, like ghostly like color?
They're kind of glowing these green colors as you see, but you can see them as they would be in real life.
Gotcha.
It's just mostly that their skin is like this faint see-through, but they have all of their features, all of their shapes and things. And there might be a little bit of color here and there on some of their things that they wear, but for the most part, it's kind of just this ghostly image.
Gotcha. A much older man. He's a much older man. You can tell by his graying hair. It's very peppered, but mostly gray. With a beard, can tell he's about in his 60s, wearing a suit of armor, very heavy, large suited armor, with intricate patterns on it. Killian runs up to him, and he holds an axe on his back, a two-handed axe. Grandpa? Is that you? Grandpa. And he runs to the man.
And he doesn't acknowledge you. He just keeps walking with his eyes dead set in this direction towards Strahd's castle.
Grandpa, it's me, Killian. And he waves his hand in front of his face to kind of get his attention. And then goes to put his hand on his shoulder.
And your hand kind of goes through this figure as it's just a mirage almost.
He pulls back in kind of alarm, not expecting it. And just in a state of shock, just kind of stares.
And this figure, your grandpa, just keeps walking down the road. And as more kind of funnel through, they kind of go on their path, and some move around you, some kind of phase a shoulder through you, not really caring much that you're there.
How many people would you say are there?
A lot.
Is there anyone else there that I notice?
Yeah, so Silas, you see as they just kind of keep coming from this ground. There's far more people than there are even headstones in this graveyard.
Okay. I'm gonna look for a small tiefling
Okay.
with stunted horns in a oversized cultist's robes, specifically.
Okay. So as you're sitting and watching, you watch as Killian runs up to this figure, and you kind of get this idea of that these are people from the past. And so you begin looking for Felix. And you see there are a few tieflings that pass you, but most of them are tall, older. You don't notice Felix in this march. And Killian, as you see that Silas almost joins you in this intense looking into these people, you see walking out of the graveyard towards you your brother, making his way in your direction. What does he look like?
Killian's brother is about 21 years old. He's a little bit a younger guy. Has a thick jawline, a stubbled beard on his face. A little bit rougher looking. He has 4 claw marks on the right side of his face that you can see goes down to his neck, and like right where the scarring would happen from these claw marks, it like digs into like his beard where it would be like patchiness, where like the beard never grew back. He has a signet ring on his right hand with a little rune carved into it, a kind of Nordic looking rune, a symbol of some kind. He has very similar armor to what his grandfather was wearing. Heavy plated armor with intricate designs on it. Very flowing and graceful. Very divine looking. Silver and gold. And he kind of has brown hair that's shorter and kind of spiked up just a little bit to the left side.
As far as features to go, does he look pretty similar to Killian?
Yeah, just like an older, much more mature looking, bigger, a little bit rougher. Just looks like he could. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do I notice this person as well?
Yeah, I would say that both Zeno and Silas, especially as you're actually looking for Felix, you see someone almost at a first glance, it almost looks like Killian in this march. But then as you kind of look closer, you notice the scar, you notice the bigger physique, and you kind of know that it's not Killian. But you could infer maybe that they're somehow related. Killian, what would you do?
As he sees his brother pop out of the crowd, in his peripheral, he turns and he runs straight to him, and stops. He passes through all of the other like ghost-like figures. They, just pass right through his body. Doesn't even try to weave around him. He runs straight to him. Tavix, it's Killian. What are you doing here? And he tries to do waves his hand in front of his face. Doesn't get it, just gets the blank expression that keeps walking.
Mm-hmm.
Please, talk. It's been months. I think years. I don't know anymore. Tell me where you've been. Please. I need to know.
As I see Killian do this, I will walk up behind him and place my hand on his shoulder. Killian, they're all dead. I don't think that they can communicate with you. And I'm sorry that you had to find out like this.
No, he couldn't be dead. I mean, I know everyone back home said that he would be dead. We had a funeral for him. But I never...
The truth is hard to face. But this is the March of the Dead. I truly am sorry for your loss.
Anna puts his hands in his face to kind of rub away the emotions. Why are they here? What?
They're the ones who oppose Strahd. This is what he must do to make an example of them.
And Killian, are you walking beside him?
Yeah.
As he's continuing to walk? You You watch as this figure that you are very similar to, this person that you've known for your entire life, walks past you. You watch as he kind of stops. And he reaches down to his side and he grabs this sword. The sword is only the base. There's no blade on this sword. But you look at it as he kind of holds it up. And with this blank, dead stare in his eyes, he turns and goes to hand this ghostly image of a sword to you. And you see as it is beautifully designed. The makings of this sword, the etchings of it are so finely detailed, and it has a beautiful pommel with this big gem, this crystal in it, and it kind of goes up through this perfectly balanced handle to what almost appears to be another gem surrounded by the sun. And the sun kind of comes out to form the guard, or whatever you call it, of the sword.
Like the cross guard? Is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
the cross guard.
Gotcha.
And you see as your brother, with this blank stare that doesn't even look at you, it still has his eyes towards the castle, but his hand reaches out and drops this sword. And as it falls to the ground, you watch as it kind of fades. And then he turns back around and continues walking. And you know that this sword is not one that he left with.
Is it actually material? Like, did it materialize?
No.
Okay.
It still was kind of this ghostly
into...
image, but
Gotcha.
it was very detailed and very, it almost looked as though you could grab it. And as he walks further and further through the town, more and more of these images walk past you. And you see as this trail in the woods begins to almost be illuminated with this faint green light that these images are putting off. Is there anything else that you would like to do?
No, not for me.
As Killian is kind of following his brother for a minute, I will have stopped at some point and make my way back towards Silas.
I'm still going through the crowd intensely.
Silas, I don't think we're gonna find what
He
we're...
He might be here.
I don't think he is.
Well, why wouldn't he be?
Because he didn't really stand against Strahd. These are those who tried to. destroy Strahd.
Well, you don't know that, and Strahd was the one that killed him, so...
Even if he is here, are you really gonna get any closure from seeing him being forced to walk against his will?
Still be seeing him one more time.
Silas, but it's not him.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it's his spirit. Maybe these people, maybe they're trapped. Maybe that's why, again, we need to kill Strahd, is to release their spirits.
I do agree with you on that. I'm just saying, I don't think it's how you want to see him.
How would you know what I want?
Because I know that you cared for him. And I know that it's better to remember them how they were instead of this. This is hell. As I look around to all these people. And I do agree that we have to free them. I just caution you as a friend. Don't make the hurt worse.
Silas kind of breathes deep. Says, well, fine. Grab the kid, let's go talk to this priest.
I'll make my way over to Killian. Are you ready?
I don't know if I could just have a minute, Zeno.
Of
I'd
course.
appreciate that.
Of course. I'm here for you if you need anything.
Thank you. Thank you, Zeno.
And I'll give Killian some space.
As you leave, Killian would just stand and just have a moment of silence and just remembrance for his family and seeing them, letting some of the old memories, flash past in his mind, the things that he remembers about them, the things he loved, the things he hated, kind of all these mixed emotions, but mostly about how he misses them. Havocs, I just speaking to as if he was here. Havocs, I just wish you were here. I wish you could have killed Strahd. Because now it's my responsibility. And I wish it wasn't. So, it's pretty rude of you, if you ask me. But you're missed. And I hope that your soul rests easy, and thank you for everything you showed me and taught me growing up. And I love you. And you turn around and catch back up with everyone else.
Well, shall we make our way inside?
Let's go.
Yep.
And as you approach this church, you notice that the heavy wooden doors appear to be covered in claw marks and scarred by fire. Very similar to what you've seen on Ismark's Manor. But there is a faint light coming from inside.
Well, I'd say we knock, but I think we'd be more suspicious if they invite us in, as I check to see if the door's locked.
The door is not locked.
I walk in.
Okay, let me grab. Your tokens real quick.
This is so exciting. I've never been inside of a church before.
And as I kind of look around, I say, well, I don't really remember, but I got a sneaking suspicion I didn't visit many either in my previous life.
Well, it's a new chapter of your life. A fresh start.
Sure. Hello? Padre?
So
As I
the
call.
doors open to reveal a hall towards what appears to be a chapel. There are 4 doors along the side. You can see that although old, this church appears to be fairly well taken care of. And you hear a soft voice from within reciting some kind of a prayer.
Hello? Is anybody home?
Give me 1 sec. Okay.
Quick,
Just ignore.
kill it.
Just ignore the token. I did grab a token for him, but you see that there's a larger set man who appears to be exhausted, leaning up against this altar. And he is just reciting this prayer, kind of hush. And as you walk in, he almost doesn't notice you at first. He just kind of continues to recite this prayer underneath as he leans wearily against this altar.
Father Donovich, I presume.
And he kind of, I'm sorry. Yes, what can I do for you? As he kind of looks up at you, and you can see that his eyes are kind of red, and he's got deep bags under them. I will send you an image real quick.
Ooh.
He looks tired.
Looks like he's hiding something.
He's a
That's what
priest.
he looks like.
He has nothing to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
looks
that's
at
the creepiest priest I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I agree with that, but, you know.
In all honesty, all of the images are kind of creepy. That
Except
come
for
from,
arenas.
Yeah, except for Irina. But literally everyone is kind of creepy. But
That's
he
fair,
kind
that's
of
fair.
looks up at you and he says, "Oh, yes. What can I do for you? It is very late. What brings you to this place of worship?"
Questions. Mainly. Is this not a place where one comes to seek answers?
Yes. If you come to pray, you may do so. We have all of the needed things. There are books over here and some water over there, as he gestures to a little bookshelf, and then also a little fountain. Whatever you need. There are prayer books in the pews as well.
I'll go up and I'll sit down in one of the pews and sort of like take my hat off. Are there symbols of the Morning Lord? A church to the Morning Lord, or is this just a generic church?
No, there are definitely symbols of the Morning Lord. There we go. That's a better image. It's at least not holding a sword.
So I start blasting.
And yeah, you can clearly see the windows they're not necessarily the nicest stained glass, but they have etchings of the rising sun, and there are definite things on the altars that depict the Morning Lord. So it is very clearly a church of the Morning Lord. And he kind of looks at you all and he's kind of says, "Well, hopefully you're here to worship and not kill me." As he kind of looks at the skeleton and the demon turtle.
Just like walk into a church wearing all this like iconography of just like dark abyssal runes on my shell and stuff.
Yeah. You have like these etchings in there and it's just like radiating.
It's the pentagram.
Yeah.
I say no, that's not our goal here by any degree. Actually, we were sent by Ismark.
Oh, yes.
He says you might have some information for us regarding the goings-on in this town.
Yes. I do have many people who come worship for me and tell me their woes. I can tell you what I do know, but anything that is given under the cloth, I cannot. But I will tell you what I can. What is it that you would like to know?
I kind of like look over the back of the pew with my arm put up at Zeno and at Killian.
First of all, I'd just like to say how excited I am to be here. I've never actually been in a church before. It's nicer
You
than
see
I
as
anticipated.
He kind of takes a step back and she says, "Well, there are first times for everything."
I'll take a step forward and reach out my hand. I'm Zeno. It's a pleasure to meet you, Father Donovich.
Does it like stretch as it like goes
Yeah.
over to him?
Kind of.
It's long. My arms are long.
Yeah.
He kind of wearily puts his hand forward, but does grab your hand and shake it and says, "Yes. Well, it does give me some comfort that you are able to enter the church of the Morning Lord. So, cannot be too far gone.
Yes, our appearances might seem a bit off-putting, but I assure you that we are friends here to help as Mark can confirm
well,
that.
Let us sit, and we may discuss whatever it is that you want to know. And you see that he kind of hobbles over to one of the pews, and you can see that one of his legs is actually bandaged up a little bit. And he kind of comes over and sits down over kind of near Silas.
Oh, Padre, what's wrong there? Were you injured?
Oh yes. I was out tending with my garden back behind and hurt myself on some of the tools. In the daytime, you may go back and look. It's just out behind the church in the cemetery.
My friend here, Zeno, is actually talented in medicinal arts. He brought, as I point to Killian, this young man here back from the brink of death. So,
It's true. Would you mind if I take a look at it? I'd be very happy to assist a holy man.
yeah, I mean, just look at his arms. He knows how to bandage.
It's true.
And he kind of almost for the first time notices that your arms, are covered in these bandages with like these needles poking in them, and just this kind of crazy wrapping that you have yourself in. And his face changes and he says, "Oh, I do believe I will be okay. I know a little about healing, as I studied the holy magics to some degree. I know basic healing. I believe I can take care of it myself. And you seem versed in a different kind than I am."
Well, the needles are more of just a personal touch. I don't do that to others.
Well-
Father, why do you seem weary? Is there anything we can do to assist you?
Well, this town, my woes come from many sorrows around me, and I pray that peace may come upon those, and especially those who have lost their lives and loved ones to the devil himself.
Do you know much about the devil?
I mean, no more than the typical person here, but I too have lost those that I love to his nature.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes. My son, who... And he kind of looks at Killian and he says, "He was not much older than you. He thought that it would be wise to rally up some friends and try to take out the devil, and well, none of them made it back. And I fear that there is another uprising in the near future that will want to do the same, and I do all that I can to keep that from happening.
Wait. You mean there's another group that wants to march against Strahd?
Well, there are always talks. But I have seen what those talks can turn into, and I do what I can to discourage them. Nothing good ever comes out of facing the devil himself.
Father, would Ismark's father be a part of this group that would want to oppose Strahd? His late father, of course.
Kolyanovich, he was a good man. He was the type of man that thought that joy and hope were more important than an uprising. He thought that if he could keep the people happy, that would bring more peace to them than death would come from trying to fight against them. Although Ismark, a good man, he has done much to protect this town. But I believe his views are slightly different than his father's, but I believe he has the best in mind for the town.
Speaking of trying to protect this town, one thing Ismark tasked us with doing is uncovering the mystery behind missing persons.
Yes.
When
Yes,
did
I've-
this start about, would you say?
Oh, I'm not sure. I believe it was maybe a year, maybe a little over a year ago that they started. I do not know the details, as I am not much of a law enforcement, but you know, hearsay goes around, and I've heard of things, but mostly these people are older people or sick individuals, and many of their families, they almost talk to me as though it was somewhat of a mercy of sorts, but I don't know.
Does everyone in town come to you and talk about their troubles?
Well, many do. Some more than others. But with hope, often faith kind of go hand in hand, and with the hope dying, so does faith. But some stay true to the Morning Lord.
You're like yourself.
Yes, of course. I do what I can to bring the faith into this town and these people. But-
Do you know? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to ask if there's anything else that you wish to know. It is very late, and I do need rest.
I have one question. You said your son fought against Strahd. Does that mean that he's out there marching with the others.
And he kind of looks out the window, and you see that this procession has actually ended. There's no more green light emanating through the window, and he kind of looks out and kind of looks back towards the door of the church, and he says, "You know, I don't know. As close as it is, I can't get myself to watch it. It does not bring hope. I believe it to be more of a curse or a reminder from Strahd, so that others choose not to follow their path."
Do I
So
believe? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So I do not look to it with hope to see anyone from the past.
Do I believe him?
About what?
About
Just
specifically
everything?
about his son. He just kind of like skirted around the question. I just want to get like a.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Gosh. Wow, I've never heard a more touching story.
Yeah. It really tugs on your heartstrings, like totally you're buying in.
I got two more. Well, maybe a few more than two if it might open up some more. But, pardon me. The sickness that's been going around.
Yes.
Do you know anything about that? When it started about? Or any suspicious people in town?
I don't know. I do know quite a bit about it, as I am the town's cleric. Many call upon me to bless theirs fallen with this illness, but I do not know of anyone who would cause this, if that's what you're asking. This terrible plague is not something that I would ever wish upon anyone.
Can I roll an investigation check for something?
Yeah, what are you looking for?
I'm looking to see if any part of his clothes are dirtied with the grime of the remains that were left in the factory.
Okay. Smart. Yeah, go ahead and roll an investigation.
I believe it is just a straight roll, and it is.
Do better than me. Let's go.
Heck yeah.
Him. You, in talking, you kind of look around his clothes, and you see that, they're nice white robes that are actually fairly well taken care of. They're old, but they're clean. You see that there is a little bit of blood on his leg where his bandage is, and there's a little bit of dirt on his shoes. But most of his robes are actually surprisingly clean and well taken care of.
Do you know of, other than Strahd, any enemies that this town may have? Or any enemies Ismark himself may have?
And you see that he kind of has a small smirk on his face, and he says, "Well, there are many enemies in this town, in this land. I don't know if you've noticed, but even our poor church is not immune to attacks. And there are many deceptive people who are out to deceive. Many who use Strahd for gain. I, again, try to deal more with those of faith and bring hope to those, but you know, there are many who have lost that hope, have lost that desire, and have fallen towards the darkness.
Well,
But-
I only ask because it appears as though this sickness is not an act of God, so to speak, but rather an intentional attempt at destroying the people here. You see, we found bodies of the infected in the well. And that, coupled with the fact that the wine shipment has been delayed, leads me to believe this was a carefully planned and executed attempt to cause disruption here.
You say you found bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I mean, what do you mean by that?
There was some infected that we killed in the old Durst factory, and we left the bodies there, in the factory, and when we returned the following morning they were gone, and we later found them down in the well.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the factory bodies, there were other bodies that were in the well too, right? Like ones.
Yeah, there were two others.
And were those also infected, or
Yes, all the bodies in the well were infected.
okay? That, and there were a couple more that we didn't deal with either.
Oh, well, that... And you see he kind of sits back in the chair and he says, that would explain what's been happening to this town, but that is quite awful news.
Yeah.
But you say that you've cleaned this
Yeah.
disease.
As well as we can, but that may not prohibit somebody from attempting to reinfect the water source.
Yes, well, at least we know where it is. Have you told is Mark about this?
Yeah, he was the first to know.
Good. He can do more about this than I. But
Just keep a wary eye out for anybody that may be acting suspicious, and for the time being, let us or Ismark know. That way we can take care of it. We believe that person's still out there somewhere. It means to do harm.
yes, well, I will do what I can to help you out. Is there anything else that I can do for you all?
Yeah. One more thing. Can you write us down a list of all those people who have experienced missing family members? Just so we can go ask them if they've seen or known anything.
I mean, yes, I can see what I can do. I am aging, so I don't know how many of these I can remember, but
As many as you're able to muster will be very helpful to us.
and you see he's like, yes, I will go and grab some parchment. And he kind of gets up and walks into this back room and grabs some paper.
As he's gone for a second,
Mm-hmm.
Silas,
Yeah.
would it be rude if I cast a little spell on him to see if he really did hurt his leg tending to the garden? I could make him show us.
Why would you want to do that?
He just seemed reluctant to give any information about it, and the generalizing the tools seems... I mean, it wasn't anything specific, it was just tools.
Well, I mean,
Maybe this is just my trust issues.
yeah, could be. There could be something behind that, but seems like this town isn't very trusting of us anyway.
True, very true.
So, I don't see why we couldn't trust him. Unless there's something alerting you otherwise.
He seemed pretty genuine about his story with not wanting to see the march.
Yeah, and he seems like he wants to help people. Which, in a place like this, is as much as anybody can do, really. What do you think, kid? Do we trust him?
I don't know.
And just then he begins walking back out. And he walks up to you and he says, well, as I said, I don't remember many of them, but here are those that I can remember. And he kind of hands you this list with a few names written on it. And he says, many of those that go missing, they live alone. They are old and sick, as I said before. They do not have many families around.
Yeah, but didn't you just say there were many that confessed to you it was a mercy that they went?
Yes, and these are the names of those.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you much, Padre, and I kind of look around. Is there a donation box?
Yeah, there would be a little chest sitting on the altar that kind of has like a little coin slot.
Okay. I go up and I put 5 gold pieces in it.
And he looks at you with shock and he says, thank you. May the morning Lord bless you.
And you as well.
Father Donovich, if I may ask, I have a question that I hope you may have some insight on. Recently I saw a weapon, a sword, with a sun on the pommel of it. And being a holy man yourself, I was hoping you maybe have some insight into possibly a weapon like this. And I would explain a little bit more in detail of what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Would you know anything about where it may come from, or what it may be, where I may find it?
I have never heard of such an item. Are you sure that something of that nature exists here in this land?
No. I'm not sure. Unfortunately.
Well, I've heard stories of holy items. None, as far as I know, that are weapons. But I do know that the church in Vallaki claims to be a safe haven of some kind due to old relics and the sort. I don't know much about it, though. It's been a long time since I've studied there. But
Are you in contact with the priest over the Church of Vallaki?
well, I do know that Father Lucian, I do believe, is the name of the man that's now over the church, but we haven't spoken in many, many years. But I remember him when he was younger. He was a good man. I believe that what he's doing over there must be good. But there's not much contact with the other cities here, unless you're into trade or you travel yourself, but I mainly stay here.
Gotcha. Well, is there anything that we can do for you before we leave here tonight?
Just be safe as you go out there. The nights are when the evil things lurk. So keep a wary eye.
Thank you.
Yes. And feel free to come back when you need to. Just maybe during the day would be better.
We wanted to see the march. It's our first time.
Yes, well, I hope it did what you wished.
Thank you.
Thank you, Father.
As I get up to leave, I just want to look around the inside of the church. Is there any type of scratchings or anything, like anything's ever made it on the inside? Because we saw a bunch of the stuff on the outside.
Ooh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, you in the chapel? No,
Okay.
there's actually not. It's actually very well, again, old.
Yeah,
You know, the pews are old, but
maintained.
they appear to be maintained.
Okay.
Yeah, and you do see that up here in the top corner, there is kind of back behind the altar. There's the bell rope that hangs down, which you can assume he was doing before you heard or before the march began.
Okay.
But yeah. Is there anything else anyone would like to do or look for?
No, but excuse me for 1 second. I gotta turn the heat up in my house because it is freezing.
Can I roll an investigation check on the father, to see if there's like any information about him that may give a little bit more a gleam into like his story that he was telling us. Like you said, he had like dirt on his boots, you know, the bandage on his leg, you know, just to kind of, I don't know. Zeno seemed a little wary, so I'm gonna check him out a little bit, see if there's anything new I noticed.
Okay, I will say
If there's nothing else.
because Silas already rolled specifically for his appearance. Just to make it so like you guys aren't always like I make a perception check, you know. So I'm gonna say
get it.
as far
Gotta
as
make
like
it-
what he's wearing, that's kind of all you guys are gonna get. If there's
That's
something
fair.
else that you want to look into,
Zeno
you
didn't
for sure
do like
can.
Did Zeno do an insight check on him?
Yes,
Mhm.
he did an
Yeah,
insight
okay.
check.
About the March of the
Right.
Dead and his
And
son.
he was
Yeah.
telling the truth, so
Yeah.
I think I will. Okay, then can I do an insight check on his to see if I believe like his story about like what happened to his leg?
Um. Um. I don't know.
I just didn't think about it until now. If it's too long, it's all right.
Yeah. Just because.
Next time I'll let you know.
Yeah, just because they kind of already did. I just don't want to get bogged down by too many of like the same things,
That's all right.
But
That's okay.
yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right.
But yeah, is there anything else that you guys want, or?
I'm gonna roll a d20 just to see if I'm gonna make a decision or not.
Okay.
Okay. I'm good. I'm not gonna.
Is that a yes or a no?
That's a no.
That's a no.
Okay.
I was doing 10 or above is a no. Below 10 was a yes. Mixing it up.
Okay.
As I'm leaving, I kind of stop and turn around and say, actually, Padre, do you have a symbol of the Morning Lord? Something I can wear?
Not necessarily. You, and he kind of pats himself down. He's like, no, I don't think so. But maybe the general store could have something. But either way,
Okay.
we will hopefully talk to you all later, okay? I need to get some rest now. As he kind of
yeah.
walks you towards the door. It was nice to meet you.
You as well.
May the Morning Lord bless you.
Yeah, indeed.
May he guide you.
And he does the symbol for you.
Well, should we go head back to our rooms?
I think
Start
so.
making our rounds in the morning?
I could use some rest.
Yeah.
And as you guys walk back towards town, as you kind of leave the gate of this church, a little past the cemetery, you see as this figure who appears to be leaning up against a tree, and as you walk closer, he almost comes out of the shadow. And you can't really tell his features, but he's tall. And he appears to be wearing very nice clothes. And you see that his ears are just slightly pointed. And he talks to you and he says, "So, you must be the new band of adventurers."
What's it to you, stranger?
As he kind of walks a little forward, he says, "You wouldn't have happened to have been up to the factory by chance, would you?"
I kind of like move my duster aside and rest my hand on the handle of my pistol. And I say, again. Or I say, again. What's it to you, stranger?
And as he kind of walks close with kind of this smug look on his face, Zeno and Killian, you would notice him to be an elf. And send you a picture of him.
Probably gonna be a
Very,
creepy looking elf.
very uncommon to see you here. I haven't come across any elves.
And he says, and he looks at Silas, reaching his gun. He says, "There will be no need for that. I am Rahadin. And I've come to meet you.
For what?
Apparently, you are the three that have changed things around here.
And is that good for you? Or are we stepping on your toes as I take a step closer to him?
Well, it's not really my toes you're stepping on, but it is my lord's toes. As he kind of looks over his shoulder towards this castle that again is looming over the valley. I have only been sent here to merely view you.
You like what you see?
He looks at you and he says, "Well, you are quite the young one. Not quite as young as the other, but still young."
Right when he says that, Silas draws his gun and cocks the hammer and points it right at his face.
When you say other, do I get the implication that he's talking about my brother?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
I see. Sorry. I misheard that. I misread that.
He kind of looks at your gun and he says, "Please. I'm only here to discuss things."
And what if we don't feel like discussing things? And instead feel like sending your head back to your lord on a platter?
And as he gets closer, you almost hear the sound of screams, kind of faintly humming around him, almost as if the wind itself is screaming, but it's radiating from him. And you hear the scream of men, women, and children kind of off in the distance. He says, "Please, you three would be but a mere game. I have killed many, much more wise and fitting than you."
Gold medal.
Yeah. I agree with you. We may not be the sharpest. But you go tell your child murdering, peace destroying, virtue defiling, worm of a boss to keep the chain he has around your neck reeled in tight, not to get in our way again. Because that's all you are, right? A lackey.
And he looks at you, and you see the fire in his eyes. And again, you hear these screams, almost of his past victims, emanating from him, and his blade that is at his side. And he says, "Look, you will learn to respect Strahd, for he is this very land, and you are but the mere worms that writhe in the dirt. The only reason that you are still alive is because I was told to not kill you, but believe me, if you speak one more phallic word, I will have your head on my nightstand. I will have your bones hanging in my room. They will be but mere bells in the wind."
And I put the hammer down on my gun, and I holster it, and I lean in, and I say, "You know what's more dangerous than a man fighting for his life? A man who already knows he's dead. Go back to your master, boy." And then I just walk past him.
You see he grabs your shoulder, and he says, "I look forward to killing you." And then he lets go.
Okay, well, he takes 9 necrotic damage as he does so.
That's funny. I bet it
You
won't do much,
watch.
but that's
What?
You watch as he leaves his hand lingering, as he almost rejoices in the feeling of pain. And he says, "You know nothing of power." And then he kind of, he turns around, and he kind of like waves his head, and you see that 3 vampire spawn. One leaps off of the church, lands behind you, and 2 more come out of the shadows, and they follow him. And then he walks away.
shoot.
I can't wait to add him to my collection.
I can't wait to watch you do it. Let's go.
I felt like we might have gained something if we listened to him, but at the same time, I have no desire to hear what he has to say.
He says we'll learn to respect Strahd. I ain't never been a fast learner.
So do you make it back? You
I mean,
you
yeah,
said
if we're
straight
not-
to the tavern?
I
Yeah.
would, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you're able to. There appears to be nothing out at night.
Interesting.
You make it to the tavern. And you go up to your rooms. Would you like to do anything, or do you just want to brush over your nights?
I would like to talk to Zeno.
Okay.
In private.
Should we go in my hut?
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that. Yeah.
Come on in.
All right. I climb down in. Is your altar and sacrificial seance area still up?
No, I put it all away.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, let me just tidy up real quick.
There's like fresh blood and stuff like all over. Like
You're peeking in a bowl.
Yeah. Just ignore that.
there's still a little bit of fire flickering in the chalice or whatever.
As I'm looking around, but not in a way that I'm like trying to snoop, almost in the way that like somebody walks into somebody's foyer is kind of like looking at the pictures on the wall and like the books that might be on their shelves, mainly just to procrastinate talking. And without looking at Zeno, I'm kind of like looking at a jar with the squeezed head inside. And I say, what do you know anything about deals
What
people
kind
make?
of deals?
The kind that would bring someone back from the dead.
Well, it's not unheard of where I'm from. Really just depends who you made the deal with.
You have any can you give me some ideas?
Do you feel like you've made such a deal?
I believe so.
Interesting.
When we were in the death house, the Durst place,
Mm-hmm.
that darkness, it kind of overtook me, and I blacked out, and I had a memory. At least I thought it was a memory. Maybe it wasn't, but it was a voice
Mm-hmm.
asking me if what I'd do for a second chance. And then in the factory, I kind of get quiet and sit at the chair at the table and take my hat off and set it brim side up, which proper etiquette dictates, and pull out the picture that's in the inside of the hat. I had a flashback of my death. And my subsequent resurrection, one might say.
Well, normally, when situations like this happen, the party bestowing the gift that is asked for asks for something in return. So what would you be willing to give up for a second chance?
I don't know. I'm not so sure I want a second chance, if this is what it is.
Well, you've already passed that point.
Yeah.
You wanted something and you were willing to give something. It gets a little complicated with you not having a memory
Yeah.
to figure out what it was that you gave up. But I assure you that you gave up something, or offered something that was enticing enough to receive such a gift, because that is not a very common gift to be given.
Well, funny you should say that, because after that day when you and Killian almost died, while you were out in your shell and I was in the room making my bullets, I, someone or something, or I can only assume the entity with which I made the deal spoke to me. And it said I'm here to free it, whatever that means.
And it happened that same night that I didn't stay in.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Why do you say that?
Well, I had a similar experience that night
Really?
of being contacted by something of which I don't know exactly what yet. But I find it very intriguing and interesting that both of us had a similar experience.
Is that where the, and I kind of gesture towards the pinky. No, I'd go like this. Is that where the, went?
Yes.
Mm.
To be completely honest. I don't know exactly what it was you made a deal with, Silas. But I could potentially help you find out.
Yeah. What do you got in mind?
Bear with me a moment, and I'll start running around my hovel and just pulling things off of the shelves and getting like a jar with a bunch of dead rats in it and one that's got some slime, and I will start pulling them out and throwing them into a bowl and putting some slime in and taking some spiders and ripping off the legs and throwing them in there and mushing it all up. And I will throw down my Ouija board, and I will take my little circle and I'll dip it down into this goop, and I want to try and do some type of ritual to hopefully reach out to the Witch Queen and get any information about if she has any idea what, maybe not even what this entity is that contacted Silas, but even as something as basic as like its alignment to do a very primitive type of thing. Is that possible, Tyson?
Yeah, let's have you roll a religion
Okay.
check.
It's a 14.
Okay. You said, do you have your Ouija board?
Yes.
Okay. So you're sitting there. You do this ritual. Do you ask any questions?
Is the entity that Silas made this deal with trying to benefit the people of this land or enslave them like Strahd has?
That's a very interesting question.
We're not expecting that one, were you?
No, I wasn't.
I wasn't either.
As you ask this question, and it kind of rings in the air of this silence, as the smells of your offering, or what you may call it, kind of waft through the air. Your hand begins to slide across this Ouija board. And it goes from letter to letter as it slowly spells out in its own way.
What's it saying?
It said that it's going to, in its own way, which is pretty ambiguous, which is normal for these types of things.
Oh, well, great.
And then your hands again begin to move. And it spells out one more question.
Do you have anything specific you'd like to ask? Just one more thing.
How many times have I made this deal?
How many times has Silas made this deal?
And the Ouija board, do you just have numbers or letters, or does it have...
No, it has numbers on the top and then letters.
Okay.
1 through 9 with a 0.
Yep.
Okay. And you see as your hand slides over to the 1.
Just once.
Interesting.
And as it finishes sliding over the 1, and I give Silas that answer, I pull my hands back, and this concoction lights on fire and then just turns into ash, and it's all gone. Well, I think that's all we're getting for the time being. But we can keep at it.
Or not. That was... Not gonna lie, that looked pretty demonic.
Well, I've never claimed to be a holy man.
You're right, you're right.
You know, I'm not necessarily a good person.
Yeah, no, of course I knew that, Zeno.
Well, I'm just, I feel like now that we're friends, I can be a little more honest. But
Well, So go ahead.
I hope you do know that I take care of my friends, and I would never do anything untoward towards you or Killian.
Well, I don't know how good of a person I was before all this. So I have no room to judge your actions.
No wonder we're friends then.
That being said,
Mm-hmm.
most of the stuff you do
Yes.
creeps the boots off me. Not gonna lie.
Me too.
It terrifies me every time. So
Yes.
as long as we're being honest with each other.
I'd rather have you be honest than lie to me.
Yeah, me too. So I'm kind of playing with this picture in my hand, and I kind of hand it over to Zeno.
Who is this?
I think it was my wife.
I don't take you for the family man type. She's quite beautiful.
I agree. Just wish I knew what her name was.
There's no writing on it, on the back or anything?
There is.
What does it say? Actually, before you tell me,
Mm-hmm.
as I flip it over and I see the writing, I'll flip it back to the picture side.
Okay.
I don't want to intrude where I'm not welcome, and I hope you know I mean that out of all respect.
Nah. I get it.
Can I read it?
Sure.
I'll flip it back over and read it.
Now, I lost the note that the exact words were on. Do you have it written down, Tyson?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to make it up, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty close. To my guiding light in a dark world, yours forever, signed A. And actually, it's signed A.M.
Silas, you have my deepest condolences. I can't even imagine having something like this, but having no memory of it. And any way that I can help you to potentially restore those memories, if that's something that you wish,
Yeah,
I would be
Of
more
course.
than happy to do that.
I would like nothing more.
I'll hand you back the picture.
Put it back in the brim of my hat. Put my hat on. Well, I'll leave you to your kind of look around. Rituals. Gotta go talk a minute.
Okay, I'll be down here. And suppose I'll see you in the morning.
Yeah, night then.
Good night, Silas.
And good night, Zeno.
As you're kind of climbing up the ladder, I'll just like start extinguishing candles as I'm just staring up at you climbing out of
Just
my
like-
hut. Yeah, exactly. And it just gets darker and darker and darker.
Do your eyes glow? Or
Y-
reflect light
yeah,
like, like in
cat.
animals?
Yes.
Yeah.
For
Oh,
sure.
So creepy.
For sure.
Great.
They didn't, but they do now.
And as I climb out of the turtle shell, I dust myself off. I kind of give a shiver. And I look at the kid and I say, if you have the choice to don't ever go in there.
Noted.
Um,
Killian's up
and he
there,
kind
and
of
he's sitting at the table, and he has the hand crossbow that he bought at the market, and it is torn into little pieces. Like, it's taken apart entirely. Everything's in like, just like all the little pieces from it are just like scattered along the table.
oh, didn't even have it a day, and you already broke it.
It's not broken.
It looks pretty broken to me, kid.
For right now, it's broken. It'll be better.
Whatever you say. I'm gonna pull a chair away from the table, sit it in the corner facing the door like I've kind of had it before.
Mm-hmm.
Taking
And
stuff apart kind of helps me relax anyway.
yeah. And I'm kind of leaving my gun, my long gun, my lever action up in the corner next to me. And I pull out my one of my revolvers and I unload it and like spin the cylinder and then drop the hammer so it stops suddenly. Yeah, you seem to kind of have a knack for weaponry.
Yeah.
The shop, you said you could change the magic from that little black hat, put it into mine here.
Yeah, I can do that. Should be easy.
I'd be much appreciated if that were the case. As I take off my hat and take out the bowler hat, the hat of disguise.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I always like having new projects. So, I can do it right now if you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're not gonna, and I kind of gesture to the crossbow that's in piece on the table, do that to my hat now, are you?
Nah. Well, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
And I take the picture out and hand him the hat.
Killian takes both of the hats, and he goes to work, and he puts them both on the table, and he takes out no, he's not wearing his armor right now, but all of a sudden you see like his gauntlet that's part of his armor usually, like kind of like smoke appears out of nowhere, like this shadowiness, and it like accumulates over his hand until it solidifies and becomes this gauntlet, and that's all he's wearing. And this little tiny rune on the tip of his index finger glows purple. He takes that hat, he takes your hat, and he begins to draw these runes with his finger, and these it'll be fine, it'll be better, I promise. And he keeps drawing. It's like on the inside of the hat. Like it's not on the outside. It's like on the like on the inside, like of the,
like on the brim.
You know, like yeah. Yep. And he goes to carve, and he carves a couple of these runes, these symbols, into that hat, and he takes the other hat that has that has the properties of disguise self. And he starts writing some of the very similar runes onto the hat, and they glow purple. And on your hat, he goes back to it, and he smiles, and then draws a couple of extra runes, a couple of extra symbols on it, and hands it back to you. There you go.
So how does it work?
That?
Yeah.
You should just be able to connect with it, like with most magical items, and will it to activate its properties and use it to disguise yourself. Pretty
Do
simple stuff.
I have to know or have seen someone I can change into? Like the disguise stuff, what does that mean? Do I just make me look a little different, or do I take on an entirely new appearance?
You can take on any kind of humanoid appearance, anything like. Stop me if I'm wrong here, by the way, Tyson. But like elves, humans, you can get your skin back if you want. If you wanted, you could even, look like your old self, if you wanted.
I mean, if I knew what that looked like, yeah, maybe.
If you knew what that, yeah, if you knew what you looked like, you could. Um, anything basically human should be able to turn into it. Even if it's a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, you should be fine.
Here's a question for you, Silas.
Mm-hmm.
In your flashback, would you have seen yourself in a mirror or glass of some kind?
Let's find out, shall we? Death saving throw rules 1 through 9, no. 10 and up, yeah.
Okay. You mean 1 through 10?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah.
So as he
Ooh.
kind of brings up your old self, you remember that in this vision that you had, you actually saw what your face looked like. You saw a glimpse of yourself with skin.
I put the hat on and I stay a skeleton for now. And I say, alrighty then. And then during my rest, I will attune to it.
Okay. And I'll say that during this short rest, the magic from the one is transferring over
Okay.
to the other.
Yeah. I'm
So
not
by
gonna
the
use
end
it
of
until
this
later.
this long rest, the other hat will be just a hat, and yours will be the
Hat of disguise.
hat of disguise.
Cool.
Also,
Which, by the way,
Silas-
that was so cool, Zane.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, thanks, Silas. Also, the other day, while you were down there, I found this bullet left on the ground. Must roll away from you. And he cling flicks it with his thumb over to you, like you're flipping a coin in the air. Also, I do want to retcon something that I said. I said that I put the symbol on the lead actual bullet part. I'm gonna change that. There's actually 2 little symbols on the brassing of the the casing of the
Casing, yeah.
bullet. Yeah, on the casing of the bullet.
Is it on the back, like where manufacturers print their name and the caliber?
It absolutely is.
Yes. Because I mean, at this,
Winchester.
well, yeah, in this era, they wouldn't have had, like in the era that Silas is
Mhm.
modeled after, they would not have had that. Modern bullets do. So I'm just saying that'd be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. And I just
Yeah.
kind of tuck it away
Be
without
careful with that.
thinking of it.
It could put someone's eye out.
Sure, kid. Sure. And I say, are you any good at engravings?
What kind of engravings? Like on a
Metalwork?
headstone.
No.
Yeah, metalwork. Yeah. Sure.
As I'm kind of looking at my empty gun, and I say, doesn't all have to be done right now, but could I commission you to put a design on this piece?
Yeah, I can do that.
I don't want any of that glowing nonsense.
What do you want me to do to it?
I was thinking, you're familiar with the Morning Lord, right?
Yep.
Just put his symbol and any others you want that would match the gun.
Do I have free reign?
Absolutely.
right.
Provided it's nothing that would make me look like a sissy.
A little late for that, but I will get to work on it.
All right. And then I go to hand him the gun, but before I let go of it, I have the barrel pointed back at me when I hand him the handle. But before I let go of it, I look him in the eyes and I say, "But you gotta swear you don't take this thing apart.
You can
Because I'm
see
sorry, but I don't trust you to put it back together, right?"
he's fighting the air. He's like when someone holds their breath and like a little vein pops up in their forehead. Like that's exactly what he was thinking that he was gonna do whenever you weren't looking. He's like, okay.
Zane, have you ever seen like those guns from the West that have the like desert or floral engraving on it?
Not necessarily.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a picture
Okay.
of one. I want it to basically be like that, but I want it to be like Morning Lord style.
Send it to the group.
Can I do that on
Yeah.
this? How do
No,
I attach?
I meant like our group.
Oh, the group chat.
Group chat.
Gotcha.
Because I want to see it too.
And I say, as you begin to work on it, and like I don't expect this to be done anytime soon, by the way. But I say, was that a family of yours?
Yeah. Yeah. It was my my older brother. My grandpa.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did they come here to kill Strahd too?
Yep. That's what they all do.
They all, including yourself, right?
Yep. Including me. That's what all my family does. Year after year, someone gets sent to Barovia, kill Strahd.
Every year, someone from your family does.
Yeah, most of the time. Mostly every year. Sometimes twice, but mostly just once. I mean, it used to be sometimes 2-3 times a year, back when there were more of us.
Oh, so it's like your tribe then.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Tribe, clan, family.
How does that work? Were you did you volunteer? Were you chosen?
Mostly people volunteer. Few people been exiled
Hmm.
here, you know, punishment, but mostly people volunteer.
Like yourself?
Yep. Yeah. I wasn't exiled out here, so that's the some silver lining.
You know, kid, doing what needs to be done, even when you're scared, that That's what bravery really is.
Yeah. My brother was brave. The bravest I've ever known.
So he was scared.
If so, I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Most of the time, good men like that can put on a good face.
Must have been good at doing it. Really good. Everyone else and all the rest of our family, I mean, they probably believed it as well, because he was the wonder kid. Havocs. He was the one that was going to come, slay Strahd.
What happens if you don't?
Most of my family choose most of them choose not to come back, I guess. Whether they stay here and die or stay here and give up. So they're not disgraced or dishonored. You know, maybe that's easier for them. I don't know. Few people come back. Usually life isn't the greatest for them afterwards.
But you have to go back to your clan. I mean, if you are, technically leave here whenever you want. What's keeping you from going back and starting a life somewhere completely different? Where your family, as hard as this may sound, can just assume you died valiantly and bravely, just like everybody else that's gone before you. I mean, the writing's on the wall, the pattern's here. I'm just curious why you stay.
Great question. When a tree falls in the woods, no one's there to hear it. Does it make a noise?
Yeah.
Well, if I were answering the question, I would say I don't know.
Okay, well, it does make a noise, but all right.
I don't know. You've never been there to observe it, now have you?
I mean, you know, things make noises all the time. Just because someone's not there to hear it doesn't mean don't. Your argument implies that someone to hear the sound is required for a noise to exist.
I only believe in the observable.
Yeah?
But to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know what...
Time out. I kind of like lean forward and pull off my hat showing the glowing purple runes on the inside and watching him with a smoky hand engrave something. And you're meaning to tell me that you only believe in the observable and yet you practice the same magic as as Zeno does.
Yeah. Magic is observable, as you can tell.
Really?
I've studied it. I use it.
Hmm.
I see what it does. I know how it works.
So really it's more like science than magic.
In a way, yeah.
Huh.
Not everything is known. There's mystery.
And Silas kind of like leans back, head looks up at the ceiling. Wow. Well, that actually makes a lot of sense. Wow. Okay. Fair enough. Maybe a tree doesn't make noise in the forest. if it falls and no one's there to hear it?
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Or whether I stay here in Barovia, maybe I do, maybe I don't. But I don't know if I'll kill Strahd like my family wants me to do. But I do know that I have to find my brother. Or at least feel that he has something that he needs to show me. So
Well-
until then, that'll have to be enough.
People do funny things for their families. But don't feel like you have to lose your life because your family expects you to. So that's not fair to you.
Much easier said than done.
I
It's a lot of
agree.
pressure.
Yeah. I agree.
And as you sit in this silence, Zeno, as you sit in this darkness, you all slowly ponder the conversations that you've had, the things that you've learned, and you plan for the future. You remember the past and the present. But the one thing that you all remember is the loss and the newfound and growing friendships that you're making. And that's where we're going to end this session.
Wonderful.
Beauty.
So,
Beautiful.
That was such a good conversation, you two.
yeah,
That was a pleasure
Really.
to listen to.
Thanks so much for watching. You can follow us on our socials down below. If you like what we do, support us on Patreon, like, subscribe, do all of those things. We will catch you next time. And as always, we love you.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
So
I
long.
love it.
Yes.